Welcome to another episode of the RV Voice. You're going to want to listen to this one. Why? Because we're going to kind of teach you how to run a rental RV business. But I'm not. Jason and Marty are going to do so. What up, y'all? Today's episode is brought to you by RV Fix. Let's walk through a quick scenario. You're on your RV trip that you've been planning for months and bam, something goes wrong. Slide won't move. Fridge quits. The power's out. Now, instead of cracking open a cold one, it's fixing time. Total buzzkill, right? That's where RV Fix comes in. Call 1-844-66-RV-FIX and get connected via video call with a master RV technician. No middlemen, no dealership runaround, just real help, fast. And over 40% of these issues are fixed on the first phone call. If it's more serious, we've got you. We'll order parts and get warranty approval within hours, not weeks. Then we can either ship the parts to you and walk you through the fix on a second video call, send a mobile tech from our 2,000 plus tech network, or have you drop it off at the dealership once everything's ready to roll. And even better, you get to keep your rig during this whole process. No more waiting 4 to 6 weeks for basic repairs. With RV Fix, most shop fixes are done in just 3 days. Skip the stress, call RV Fix, and get back to camping, relaxing, and making memories. Use promo code RVVoice at checkout to get a 60% discount and lock in your price for years to come. Learn more at rvfix.com. Hope you enjoy this episode. They are from San Bernardino, California. Californians in here today visiting us, and we'll tell you why later, but we're going to get into it today. So thank you both for being here. You guys came in for a little bit of a business opportunity with us, and we'll get into that later on in the podcast. But welcome. Can you guys tell me about yourselves, your background a little bit, where you guys come from, what do you guys do, and all that?
Mm-hmm. So we've actually have been camping since we were kids. Mm-hmm. And so luckily I met this gentleman, my husband now. And back in, 2002? 2002. Mm-hmm. And so when we met, we figured, we both love camping. And we ended up with a little 1973 Terry travel trailer, no kids. And from there, since we had already loved the lifestyle because of, the history, we just went from there, and we had one child, and we started upgrading to different trailers. 2 kids came, a dog came, and we had to get another trailer. And then 3 and 4 kids came, and so we continuously had to upgrade our RVs all the time. So all of our kids grew up camping, and it's a lifestyle that we really enjoy. We love being around the campfire. And
yeah, definitely. So in 2016, we decided that we were going to go out and buy us a brand new unit. We didn't know exactly what we wanted, whether it was a trailer or a motorhome. We never owned a motorhome at that point. So we ended up going with a motorhome.
Keep talking. Make sure I forgot to press something.
Yeah, so we went ahead and bought a motorhome in 2016. And at that time, I was a truck driver. I had been driving trucks since basically the day we met. I think I was pushing about 15 years on the road by that time. And we got the motorhome, and that's when kind of some of the websites came out, rent your RV, kind of deal. And my wife here was like, hey, let's rent out our RV, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't think so, I don't know how I feel about that.
And which RV was it at this time?
So that was our new our drivable. So it was a 2017, Forest River Forester. So it was a Class C motorhome.
And I'm going to tell you, it took us, when we had finally made a decision to buy we went in with the intention of buying a toy hauler.
Yes, we actually did. We were looking at used toy haulers.
And then somehow we transitioned into buying a drivable. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, it took us, because we've already had all this experience, with the lifestyle. We were like, let's really think about this investment, let's think 5 years ahead. We have 4 kids, we have a dog, how old are our kids going to be? Let's look at the different floor plans, because we want to make sure that it's going to be comfortable for everybody and our dog too.
And the kids as they
grow.
So
it took us about 2.5 months to find the perfect RV for us.
Oh my gosh. So you've had several RVs. You started 2002-ish. It's crazy to think 2002, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You want to, yeah, the one that's been chaperoning you around. She's born in 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird, right?
Yeah, I know.
I'm a 90s baby, so I can talk to that.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So how many RVs did you guys have before you started the idea of renting out your RV?
So we only had the one at that time. Well, no, actually we had two. So we had the RV that we had just bought, and then we had our old unit, which was my grandparents' old travel trailer. It was a Jayco J-Flight travel trailer. So we had that guy. We had them both, and we ended up selling that off. A couple years goes by, and she finally convinced me, okay, let's put it on one of these platforms and try it out.
It took years.
Yeah, it was about 2 years. Yeah. So we went ahead, we threw it on there, and we were like, man, this is, pretty rewarding, seeing other people using our things, seeing the kids, come out, and the kids are playing on their phones and doing this, and, and then they find out, oh, I'm not going to have no internet. Like, oh, you don't have Wi-Fi? No, we don't have no Wi-Fi, sir. Sorry. And the kids are, they'd get mad, they'd pout, the kids, right? And then they'd go out and they'd come back, and these kids are just so happy, and they're running around. Now the kids are talking to me and telling me, oh, that was great, and I did this, and I was catching frogs down at the lake, and and they just had this wonderful experience of what I used to experience as a kid, because that's what we did. We rode bikes and we fished, and we caught frogs and things like that. And I was like, man, this is pretty rewarding. And I was like, and I can possibly make a living off of this. So, hold on. So we started doing that, and then we were like, okay. So we ended up buying another Class C motorhome. We bought that, and then we had pretty good amount of bookings, built up, and then COVID happened. And so COVID hit, and we sat there, and we're like, okay, like all our bookings just fell off.
And we did what was right, integrity, because technically we didn't have to get refunds back based on our policy. But at that point we were like, you know what, let's do the right thing. We don't know what's happening, but let's just do the right thing and reimburse all of these people. At this point we were like $2 in our bank account.
Yeah, we're sitting there, we're like, okay.
Yeah, like what are we gonna do? Because we had already put all our money and bought another RV, and we had all these bookings, and now all of a sudden COVID hits, and now we're like back to square one, and how are we going to feed our kids, and how are we going to move forward? So we actually went and tried to get regular jobs in the meantime, not knowing that COVID was going to take that turn, And so for one reason or another, we both went and applied for regular jobs, and something always went wrong. Yeah. Whether it was like a freeze on the job or something.
Yeah, I worked at a tanker, so I went back to truck driving because I still have my license to this day. But I went back to truck driving, and I worked there for 3 days. And I got a phone call on my way to work, and they said, hey, because of this COVID thing, we're laying everybody off. And it's like, okay, so now what are we going to do? And we sat there for like a month, everything was closed. We couldn't do anything. And then next thing we know, just one inquiry, another inquiry, and that turned into a booking, and that turned into a booking.
So during COVID, they said no more traveling. Everybody canceled their trips, and at that point, it was just like we didn't know. Nobody knew. I think nobody knew what was going to happen during that time, and once camping just became a thing. Yeah. It was trending, and everybody wanted to go camping.
The wave started to happen.
It started.
We're like, oh my
tsunami.
God. Yes, and I told my husband, I said, look, this is not working out for one reason or another. We're not getting a job for a reason, so we got to keep our faith up. Something's going to give. Something's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, all these bookings started coming in, and we're pretty fresh at starting this business. So we had so much value to bring into our customers because we were like, oh, yeah, we have over 20 years of experience already camping, but we still had to learn the business side of the business, And so at that point, when you have this surge of people coming in and all these bookings start coming in.
Yeah, and you're trying to figure out how to deal with it and how, we were just going crazy. There was times where we were out there till 2-3 in the morning getting RVs ready, because customers are going to be here in 4 or 5 hours to pick up these units.
Back to back.
And that was an average through all of COVID. We just ran like chickens with our heads cut off, basically. And in the end, it was like really rewarding because you've seen a lot of people that were doing this for their first time. And that was huge for us. And so we quickly grew. At that time, like I said, we started COVID with 2 units. I think we ended it with like 14 units, something like that. And it just kind of grew from there. And so, here we are 6 years later. We're up to, as of next week, we'll be at about 20 units now. And we're just we're going to sit right around there and just kind of see how that goes for us.
So at this point, you are now Adventure RV California.
We are Adventure RV California.
Okay, so you were going through Outdoorsy or RV Share beforehand.
So
and then when was the now we should be our own?
Yeah. So I would say maybe
2020.
About a year later, we were like, okay, well, and mainly, I mean, you start a business and you have to have a business name, so Adventure, was just something that kind of popped out because that's what you're going to.
And our kids helped us come up with the name too.
They did, yeah.
Our kids are really involved with the business.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you have to remember all of our kids grew up camping.
Right.
It's so much cheaper to go, think about it, a family of 6. If you go to a hotel, is the capacity in one room, you can't fit 6 people. Right. And
so
they're going to make
rooms.
you pay for 2 rooms.
Yeah.
Now you're not together.
Yeah.
In an RV, there is no rule.
Yeah.
You're on top of each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right
but
there, yeah.
you're together, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
That's
that
the
makes
whole
a
point.
huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 2020, Adventure RV was born. We launched our first website, which was a website that Marty made through one of the website companies where you can do your own. We just started getting bookings from platforms and through our website, and nowadays a lot of our revenue comes straight through our website now. A lot of our leads and things, and so that's basically how we started Adventure RV.
Perfect. So you guys I've not been out to the location that you guys are at. You guys have a shop. What's it look like?
So we started just like a lot of entrepreneurs on our backyard.
Yeah, in the garage, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So luckily, again, I had no clue that we were going to rent RVs, right? My dream was I was going to start this trucking company and I was going to have all these trucks and, and things like that. And so when I look at property, I look at the land versus my wife was looking at the house. All I cared about was the land.
It's the same as RVs. I look at the inside. Most women do.
Yeah. And
we
look at the outside. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So we had almost an acre of land in our backyard. And the way that our house is set up, it actually splits 2 streets. Oh. So we're able to do all of our business basically out of the back and not, keep our home basically separate from it. And that's how we started. We still used our back lot for storage of the RVs. And now we have another lot that's actually located in a state park. So we are in a state park, which makes it a lot easier, as far as deliveries and stuff like that. So we have 2 locations, and it just depends. You can rent any RV from either location. It doesn't matter where it's at. We'll bring it down to the next location. And then we did start during COVID. It was a lot of people picking up and driving RVs. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get out. And we started slowly delivering RVs too. And then we noticed, well, this was a thing. People were like, hold on, I don't have to drive it.
I can just show up.
Yep. Yeah. I can just show up and camp. And when I'm done, I get to leave. And we're like, hold on.
Yeah.
This is
I look at a lot of stats and we listen to our customers' needs. So what we noticed is, people, even now, they want fast service, what's not stressful, and for a lot of people, it's not easy to drive an RV, to back an RV up, especially if it's your first time.
Yeah,
and so when we're looking at statistics, we're listening to our customers and we're like, okay, there's a huge market here of people who would just rather, we have the regular family that's working from Monday through Friday, right? And so they don't want to worry about picking up an RV, loading it, and then now you got to worry about learning how to use an RV, What if there was something where a family could just show up to a campground and everything's ready for you? All you have to do is show up.
AC's on, hot dogs are cooked, everything.
Music's on.
Exactly. Hot water's boiling.
Yes.
The grill's going.
The stars are out. The fire's on.
Oh, the whole move's already done.
And what's
Why
funny
not?
is it's true because that's actually what we do. So we will literally set the RV up. We'll put a rug out. We'll put your chairs there. We have a little campfire that you can rent if you would like. We'll set that up. And yeah, so when and we set this whole ambiance, like we turn the music on and, we turn the, certain lights on.
Or the fireplace if it's
yes,
cold.
Yeah, we'll turn the fire. So when they walk in, they're like,
I'm going to have to do this.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. And we got such positive feedback to fast forward 5 years later. Now we're, I would say, 95% delivery only.
Really?
So we still offer where you can pick up an RV if you would like, but it seems like that's not really what people want to do.
Especially with the gas prices and all that,
They just want to show up. And so, yeah, that's been a whole new chapter, basically, of our life is RV deliveries. And
not only just campgrounds, we've grown in the industry, like production industry as well, where there's a lot of concerts in our areas locally, and now we're delivering like green rooms, per se, for the artists. So that's another thing that we've grown in.
We'll deliver 10 to 12 units to a concert. They'll point at an area and say, we want them over there. Here's the map.
Yeah.
And see you later, and so we'll set them all up, and then when it's done, we break them all down and take them. And that's a whole nother niche that people don't really know about. And it takes a special type of company to be able to pull that off and make it work, right? Where, they have these artists in here. It's a one-day deal, basically, and they don't need anything to go wrong. And so that's kind of one of our specialties.
High anxiety business right there.
Yep, it is.
RVs.
It is, yeah.
It is.
It just happens.
Yeah. And then so we started growing. So about a year ago, my wife actually got certified as an RV tech. And then I'm sitting over here thinking, I'm thinking like,
You couldn't see the mic.
I'm like, hold on, my wife is certified. I need to get certified too, So we have a 21-year-old son. That's our right hand. He's right there with us. He tows, he delivers, he repairs, and his name is Ivan. I said, Ivan, let's go. We're going to take off for a month. We're going to go to Indiana, and we're going to get this done.
Nice.
So we went out there and we got certified. And so now we've expanded the business to where we also do mobile repair too.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
Which is great because, although we have all this experience with the business, part of the business, is knowing if your renter or guest is having an issue with the RV, then you can walk them through the process of like any, user error or any problems that they might have.
Yep.
So at that point, now you're providing more value to this customer because, we might know all this information, but now that we're technicians or certified RV technicians, we can provide like a higher level of care and support for these customers. And I'm going to be honest with you, I do most of the office stuff, marketing, everything else. But Jay's out in the field. My son's out in the field most of the time. So they're the ones dealing with that stuff.
We deal with the deliveries, the customer calls. One of the unique things about our company is because we are so knowledgeable, you can pretty much call us anytime you have an issue, and we can walk you through that issue. So nine times out of 10, the customer can take care of the issue, and very rarely do we have to either go out ourselves or send a tech, depending on where the unit is. It definitely makes for a better vacation, a less stressful vacation, especially with RVs, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that an RV does work different than their house.
Oh, yeah.
And so they compare it to their house. They don't understand that an RV is a rolling earthquake every time you're driving it down the road, and things come loose. So we're better able to, tackle those things in the beginning, and we're better able to handle the situations as they come through. So we do an orientation with the customer. We walk them through. We teach them how to use everything. And that's been very successful, too. We get far less phone calls of how to do things because of the way that we do things, if that makes any sense.
And that's the beauty of once we started this business, because we were both passionate about it, we moved 150% faster with the business.
Yeah.
So that made a huge, and then not only that, but we looked at what I was good at and then what he was good at. and then we mixed it together, and it became this powerhouse because now you got two people that are heading the same direction. You know your powers and what your weaknesses are, and then you kind of just mesh them together, and then you move forward with the
Match made in
business.
heaven, huh?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of heading in the same direction when you're, starting a business at the same time.
Yeah.
So that was really nice.
That was something that my dad actually used to tell me when I was young. He used to say that whenever you get married, and you guys need to be pulling in the same direction. And I didn't understand exactly as a kid what he meant by that. And I still didn't understand until years later. So me and Marty have been together 22 years now.
Congrats.
We've been married 20 years this year. Will be our 20th anniversary. So it took probably a good 10 years of that, of just us. We were pulling in different directions because I was, driving a truck, trying to do that, and Marty worked for the county. And then so once that happened and we put this together and we started pulling in the same direction, it was like, okay, Dad, now I understand what you mean.
Light bulb.
Yep, the light bulb went off, and bam, I mean, and here we are now in Idaho, sitting in Bish's center, and they have a name for this center.
Success.
It's called the DSC. Yeah, Dealership Support Center.
Support Center.
Success. I mean,
Success. Yes.
they're synonymous, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So.
I think it's Dealership Support Center, but either way, we don't look at us as corporate, and we don't really feel like a corporate office half the time.
Definitely doesn't look like any corporate office that I've been to, nor does it run
It's
like a
awesome.
corporate office. Yeah,
I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty chill.
yeah, it's really chill. Yeah,
I'm the DJ. Half the time I'm playing music. Right now, it's pretty quiet out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep the fun going.
Yeah, literally when
That is one of their things, right? Like go play.
Yeah, go play, go adventure, all the things. Like, hey, we are literally, it's on our core values is have fun.
Yeah.
It's like be genuine and have fun.
Yep.
That's the
Well, and that's what RVing is all about.
Yeah.
It's all about going out and having a great time.
Yeah. You got to have some fun. Question for y'all: how'd you guys land the state park land?
So it was basically we always wanted to have a concessionaire contract with the parks, right? And you always get these ideas when you're in the RV rental industry. So because we had so much going, because we don't just do RV rentals, we also have a contract with our county. I'm a huge supporter of supporting your community and finding a way to work with your community. We kind of just entertained the idea of having a concessionaire contract with the county's with the state park. However, we never really did, but we understand that having relationships is really important in our industry, any industry.
Very much. This one's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so somebody ended up getting a concessionaire contract awarded to them.
Interesting.
And so while we were delivering to that particular campground, I told Jay, hey, we should get to know the new concessionaires, and we did.
Yeah, she put me on the spot, and she says, "Hey Jay, go down there and introduce yourself to them and tell them who you are." Okay, let me go deliver this RV real quick and set it up, and then and that's what I did. I went down there to the marina at the state park, and I started talking to the owners. Well, I was going to say the owner's wife, but she's the owner too. And just kind of one thing led to another, and I told her, hey, we're looking for some space that we'd like to rent from you guys. And she says, oh yeah, like we have plenty of space. And we kind of worked out a deal and got in there. And what that did for us is it allowed us to be able to serve our customers' needs faster and cheaper, right? Because now we don't have such a big overhead of delivery. We're not driving so far and you burning so much fuel. So we were able to cut that cost down and make it real reasonable for a weekend delivery where you can just show up. Your RV is already, in its spot. It's hooked up, and go from there.
Basically, like from the storage yard, the campground is right there.
No, really.
Yeah.
So it's a state park. So
It's probably 2 football fields away from our spot.
And the RV's already stored there.
So yeah, I mean that's how we got in there. There's a lot of opportunity in state parks for people that might be thinking about like a concessionaire or even like a sub concessionaire. So you don't have to necessarily be a concessionaire with the federal or state park themselves. You can actually be a sub concessionaire through, the person that already has that contract.
So it's like subleasing or arbitrage almost.
Yeah, it's just basically like you go in there and you say, hey, I want to do this. This is what I want to do, and what do you think? And if it kind of meshes, then then you guys can work something out.
And it's the same as like even when we look at the Airbnb model, right? Airbnb on wheels. Yep. Same thing. Like there's owners out there that don't have the time to rent their RV.
Correct.
But we know that they only use it about 2 to 3 times a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're getting arbitrage. You're getting all these RVs from other owners that love the lifestyle but only use it 2 to 3 times a year, don't have the time. But a company like ours can keep your unit busy when you're not using it.
And more importantly, keep the maintenance up on your unit. A lot of people think, well, it's just sitting there, I'm not using it, so it's okay. They don't realize that that's really bad on a vehicle, an RV, anything that just sits. If the wheels aren't rolling, if it's not shaking and moving, things aren't happening, then they break down really quickly. So we're able to come in there, keep up the maintenance on your unit, and do everything for you. So when you do want to take it out, you don't experience those problems. Every new RV has to go through a shakedown cruise.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yep. And so
Several of them.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I was going to say. We put them through several shakedown cruises before the owner gets them. And so the owner tends to jump in their RV and take off, and they have a great trip. And they don't experience kind of the new things of, man, I just bought this brand new RV and now the cabin's coming loose and this and that, because we've already took care of that for them. It's not a... And another thing is people think, well, I'm gonna put my RV on this platform and we're gonna make all this money off renting an RV on the side. It does not work that way.
It's an animal.
Basically what it does for you is it's a way to help pay for your unit. Yeah. So you can have this unit, you can use it whenever you want, and you're not necessarily paying for all the costs that go into the ownership of an RV.
Just offsetting the cost for someone else's money.
Exactly.
Other people's money.
That's exactly what you're doing. Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to deal with the customer. You don't have to deal with the repair side of it.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
it. That's it. You walk
fine.
away.
That's what we do for a living. We do everything RV related. Yeah. So it doesn't even feel like a job to us because we love it so much. It's just like we look forward to waking up and helping families, and also. So
that was in 2022. At the end of 2022, we were delivering to a city park. What'd you call it? The regional. It's a regional park. And we looked over to the left, and we seen all these RVs just sitting in this lot, and they were all the same. And I asked the ranger, I said, what are those RVs? And he says, oh, those were old COVID trailers that the state of California bought to put individuals in that needed a place, when they got sick with COVID. And I was like, oh.
Quarantine RVs.
Yeah, quarantine RVs. That's exactly what they were. They were all in a campground.
I'll go over there.
Yep. And so what happened when the state of California was done with them, they gave them to the city.
They didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah, they said, we don't know what to do with them. And I said, well, so I had asked the guy, I said, so what are they thinking about? And he says, well, they're thinking about doing like a stationary rentals with them, but they don't really know what to do. And we said, oh, light bulb again.
Opportunity
went off in our head. Yep.
Again, we're thinking community. We're thinking how can we help, our local community. And so coming from the background that I am coming from, my old job working for the county for over 14 years, I kind of knew the structure and who to contact for that particular local county park. And so from there, we made some contacts, emailed, hey, we're Adventure RV California, and this is what we do. We understand you have X amount of units sitting here. Let me tell you what we could do for you and how we can help you. And then we got a call back from the director of parks, and from there, it just skyrocketed.
Yeah. So did you buy those units or just rent them out for the city?
No, they already owned them.
Yeah.
It was theirs, and we just came up with the idea of
so we basically kind of structured the program for them and said, this is what you can do with them and how you can do it,
profit.
And this is how we can help you.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and then also I felt like, again, I'm always thinking community. Make camping affordable for families who can't afford an RV.
Yes.
That's fun.
Making those memories with their family. So like now that this program's been rolling for like 2.5 years, we can go and Jay could be fixing an RV, you know, something's wrong, he needs to repair or whatever, or one of our staff members. And it's beautiful, like to see families out there in the bonfire and these stationary rentals.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. You know?
Yeah, and it makes us feel really good because we know that, you know, because of us, they're able to do that now.
Yeah.
And the community.
And so that's what happened. They took 16 of these 20 units. They put them at 4 different locations,
County
4 different
parks.
county parks. And they are now stationary rentals. So the county deals with all the incoming reservations and things like that. And then once we get a reservation, then we go out basically and we make sure the unit is clean. Our team does make sure it's clean and everything's working properly. And if anything's wrong, then we send another team out there to take care of it. And yeah, so that program's been running about 2.5 years now. And it's actually getting ready to expand into a glamping deal now. They want to get more fancy.
So we'll see about that. It's still something that's in process. They're talking about it, so we're kind of like in the radar for that too. So definitely there's many ways to grow in the industry, whether it's like we mentioned, if it's going to be consignment as a company, if you want to get like roll your business without the money, you can always help other owners rent their RVs by having them in your RV rental consignment program. Going out in your community, I just did a talk with Wheelbase in Las Vegas. I was one of the speakers, and we talked about how social media, networking in your community, joining the Chamber of Commerce, you know, how you can actually grow in your community. You know, it's not just like you're trying to spend dollars everywhere trying to get people to put eyeballs on you, but how can you serve your community?
Exactly.
You know, and that's kind of like how we look at our path, you know, like it's not just about renting RVs, but how are we making a difference in our community, and how can we bring more value? How can we bring camping? And Jay's very passionate about, like, you know, foster care as well. So we're looking into how can we partner up with the county, also with children's services or foster care, to do like a community service, you know, where we provide trailers to like foster children once a year, and where we set up the RV so children can actually, you know, that are distressed
and
interesting.
Enjoy the outdoor world of something that they might not never get to do.
That's true.
Unless a company like us steps in and says, hey, let's help you guys out. We want to do this for you.
That's awesome.
So that's one of the projects that we're working with right now with the county, you know, possibly doing that in our community, so we can bring that value of a child being able to go outdoors,
just that
fishing,
experience.
Just
the
the
experience, you know, and that's what it's about.
I didn't realize until recently how many children nowadays that they don't even know how to ride a bike. You know, their parents are working so hard that, you know, the dad he's just hadn't had time to teach, you know, son or daughter how to ride a bike. And, you know, me, I mean, we were up from sun up to sundown when mom whistled, and hey, you better come home. But if
your mom was a whistler too.
Oh, she was a whistler.
My mom had a.
They
like,
put their
hey,
fingers.
that's
they
me.
put their
I gotta
fingers
go.
in. Yep, that was
You could hear
me.
it across town.
That was
There
me.
was no
Yes, sir.
cell phone. Huh? It was like,
I'm not a dog.
Yeah, but we came running though, right?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Or me, it was more like I came pedaling. But yeah, so.
and we understand things are changing. Obviously, you know, we're talking 30, 20 years ago. You know, no more water hose drinking, you know, everybody playing outside, right? Kind of deal. I know kids love they love electronics, and things are changing. We're you know, accommodating that. But there's still something about the outdoors. You know, being around a campfire, building those memories with your family that make a difference. We have families sometimes that come, and Jay can attest to this. It's like the parents don't want us to tell them about the TVs in the RV.
Yes.
They want to connect with their family. Leave the phones out and connect. Instead of connecting with your phones, you're connecting with your family.
No, definitely.
You know, and I still feel like it's great that some parks don't have Wi-Fi or have reception, you know, because I feel like that kind of helps families kind of come together, you know. But there is, obviously, we're understanding things are changing, and a lot of parks understand that there's people working from an RV now, you know, so they are accommodating now that trend.
Yeah, they're starting to put Wi-Fi
which is
in
fine,
there.
you know, but there is families out there that would prefer not to have the electronics.
Disconnect a little bit. Yeah, we're having a problem with that. I mean, just in general with the U.S.
Yes.
We're consumerisms. We're consumers. overall consumers.
Right.
So like that's just it's an issue. Like I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. Super grateful for that, right? But not everybody has that opportunity to like disconnect like that. So you guys doing stuff with the community and looking for other projects for everybody, to do that. That's super cool.
Yes.
I didn't know your whole story, so this is interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah,
cool.
it's been an interesting ride.
Love it.
Yeah, it's great. You guys are, you're going the right way. The train's going this way. You guys mesh together now. It seems like you're doing great. Have you been doing this for how long now? 6, 7 years? 8 years?
6 years.
It's been 6 years, yeah.
Crushing it, obviously.
Yeah.
Still going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the thing about renting RVs. You gotta always, or even a business in general, you always gotta be on top. Now, if I could give somebody some value too, is be on top of what you're doing, or what's trending in your area. Are you reading reports? Are you researching? Are you staying on top of the trends in your business to kind of understand where the market's heading? Are you listening to your customers? Because listening is really hard for a lot of people. Understanding what their needs are and how it's shifting. I feel like that makes a huge difference too.
Most definitely. So, on the top of that, what do you guys think some of your biggest challenges have been while growing your business? Sounds like you've been doing well with it, but like, what are some of the biggest challenges you've come across? You started with 2 RVs, 1 RV really, and then you bought a second one shortly after that. And those were both drivables, right? What was like some of the biggest challenges moving forward past that? Because you guys it's not only your own stuff. You rent out other people's stuff.
Yes.
So what are some of the challenges you come across?
I would say one of our biggest challenges is a challenge that a lot of businesses have, and that would be, finding the right employees and the right help to get going, especially as a small business. When you first start off, what a lot of small business can attest to, most of the time you can't even pay yourself, let alone pay an employee. And so the biggest challenge, for me was us trying to get off the ground, trying to run all these RVs, make sure everybody's happy, everything's right, and on delivery on time, and kind of doing it by yourself with a little bit of help. I would say that.
Yeah, it kind of boils down to what I was going to say. It's more of like the starting expenses, right? You don't have that
startup,
but you figure out a way to make this work. And for us, it was like getting consignments. Being able to make sure that even the owners that were coming into our RV rental consignment understood the value that we were bringing to them, and then also having them understand that you're not just bringing your RV over here and making money, you're changing people's lives too. And that was what helped us kind of shift everything, because we didn't have, RVs are expensive, and obviously there's a lot of finance companies that when they see you getting more than 2 or 3, they're like, what's really going on here, So by having this consignment program, it helped us scale up. So that's how one of the challenges that we had financially, and then just being able to shift our mindset to being able to like use the consignment program to kind of help us leverage and get more RVs in the fleet.
Yeah, was that pretty hard kind of talking to people to like rent out their RVs?
It definitely is. And I can contest to that, because they have the same exact mindset. I don't want nobody sleeping in my bed. I don't know what they're doing in my bed. Yeah. It's always about the bed, right?
I don't care about anything.
Have you ever stayed in a hotel? Don't come knocking if, the RV's rocking, but everybody, it's just like we're in the hospitality industry. You got to have a certain mindset, as an owner, to be able to bring your RV in our industry. It's like your Airbnb on wheels. We don't sit there and think about what's going to happen, you know.
What happens in Airbnbs, right? You don't think about
hotels,
it. I'm sorry, but so that was definitely something to get over through the owners and because another thing is they're like, well, I'm not going to rent it out. People don't take care of things that they rent. They're going to tear up my unit. They're going to break this. They're going to break that. So once you break it down to them and explain to them that, hey, these RVs are insured. If they do break something, it's going to cost them, right? And so the customer knows, like, hey, if I break that, I'm going to have to pay for it. They tend to take care of it a little bit more. There is no, per se, like, insurance where I could just pay for, and no matter what happens, I don't have to worry about nothing. you know, it no matter what happens is going to cost you something if you damage it. And once you kind of get that through your owner, we call them owners, consignment owners. Once you kind of get that through them, and then to realize that, hey, I am a certified tech, I am going to, you know, make sure your RV is perfect as I can all the time. In the beginning, they're still a little apprehensive, and then next thing you know, they just kind of relax, and it's usually the first time they see their RV after you've had it for 6 months or 3 months or whatever it is. Then that's usually the time when it needs to be like, you know, that's what they're looking. Okay, what's wrong with it? What did it do? And then they look at it and they're like,
it looks the same.
It actually looks better than it did. Well, you fixed that and you fixed this, and you're like,
and the retention.
Yes, sir.
I think the beauty of our program is the retention rate is beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of people have that start this kind of business. They have people leaving all the time, and they have these horror stories. And for our retention rate has been high. You know, people who started with us back in 2017, or back in 2020, like during COVID, like the owners, they're still with us.
Yeah.
Some of them even have 2 units in our fleet.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're all still with us. Yeah.
And that goes to show you something that we're providing value, not just to the renters, but we're providing value to the owners, because the way that we look at our model is we're going to take care of it like our family RV. You know, we're just not going to kind of just send your RV out wherever it goes and make all tons of money and then let your RV get run down. That's not how we do. We have integrity, we have morals, and that's what we do with our owners. And how
one of the biggest things too is making people understand that you understand that they're you know, this is an investment for them, and some of them a huge investment. You know,
very much so.
You know, some of the Class A's can be up to $200,000. You know, and that this is a huge investment. I understand it's an investment. I know you're going to be paying for this thing, and that's why you're bringing it to me, because yes, we're going to help you pay for it, but we're also going to take care of it. And you know, we're going to make sure that it's clean and it's beautiful, so you guys can use it over and over and over. And once they realize that they really are going to do that, then that's kind of when they relax. People relax. So,
And I think it goes back to training as well, like making sure that when we're doing the checkouts with the renters and the guests, that they understand how the RV works. You know, Jay does an amazing job. Even our reviews will show you that Jay does an amazing job with the checkout process, the training, the orientation. You know, showing them how to use the RV so they can be more confident when they're using these RVs.
And less stressful. It's very stressful if you don't know how to use certain things. Or, you know, maybe you go for a hike and your kids are in the RV and, you know, and they don't know how to use something. So now they damage it. And now the parents are stressed out because they damaged it because, you know, they didn't know how to use it. So if you just take the time and you spend an hour and a half with them, training them on all the aspect of how to use this RV, and they can go out there with the confidence of how to use it, and they don't have to ask, you know, Cousin Joe, like, hey, cousin, I know you have an RV. How do I do this? You know, they can go out there with the confidence, say, no, Joe, it's okay. I know how to do this because I was trained properly before I picked it up.
Well, let me call Jay and, hey, Jay, how do I do
they don't, you know, and so that makes a huge difference in customers.
And we've transitioned to like into videos too. Yeah. So Jay doesn't have to spend too much time out there, you know, even though he loves doing the whole interaction and training. Obviously, as we continue to grow, we understand how important it is to have videos and training models out there. And then we also label the RVs with like to make dummy proof it, you know, like here are the lights, this is how you make the bed, or this is how you don't flush any white bees and stuff like that, you know, just to kind of help them again retain that information, you know. So that's really helped a lot. So with videos, you know, it kind of helps with the training side of it, and kind of chop down on the time that he spends, you know, doing the trainings with the customers or the guest.
Yeah, that really does help. We do that with Bish's RV as well, and we have a full on, like, when you buy your RV, you get to come in. After we do our PDI, you get to walk through. How does this work? What do I do here? With the technician that knows what he's talking about, right? Same idea. And that way I used to tell people, record everything.
Yeah.
Just record it, because I guarantee you're going to drive away and you have questions. So that was one way to go about that. So kudos to you guys, especially transitioning to the video side of things, because it's just tagged to the RV. Just download this, keep it, and then like when you have a question, watch this first. How do you guys go about insurance? So question on that is the owner who's, you guys are renting out for, they have insurance. Now, do you guys have your own insurance coverage on top of that and to like cover the whole fleet?
So the way that it works is you have to have basic liability insurance, right? Anytime something is financed. And so the owner will carry their own insurance, like for that, like if it's financed.
For their personal use.
Through a platform that we use, we are able to insure our business and the RVs as they go out on rentals. And it's totally separate. So a person that's interested in wanting to rent out their RV, they have to make sure that their personal insurance is okay with them renting it out. Not all of them are okay. And the difference is so the insurance company will say, yes, we're okay with you renting it out, but while it's on a rental, we're not going to cover it. And so that's where our insurance kicks in. So while it's out on a rental, it's covered to the whatever what it's worth. How do you say that?
The value.
The value. There you go. It's covered up to the value of the RV.
Of it? The actual cash value of it.
The actual cash value of the RV. So if the RV goes out there and it gets totaled, which, knock on wood, thank God, it hasn't happened to us, but it has happened on rentals, and they'll step in and they'll take care of it.
So we got these platforms like Outdoorsy and RV Share that will help you, kind of like an Airbnb on wheels, and they have an insurance program. So anytime that a renter wants to rent an RV, they provide the insurance, and they have to purchase the insurance when they rent an RV. So they have different tiers of insurance depending on what you want. And so then no rental will go out without insurance, whether even if it's stationary, if we deliver it, even that price will go down for our guests or renters, because now you have a professional team delivering and setting up the RV for you. So the insurance rates will be lower versus if you were to tow it or drive an RV, is going to cost you a little more, and you have more tiers to pick from as far as insurance is concerned.
You also have a deposit. So each unit has a deposit, and that varies depending on the type of unit and where you want to go. So we are a festival-friendly company. A lot of companies have...
No Burning Man.
Festival. But not Burning Man.
But not... Yes.
No Burning Man.
There's a lot of things going on there. Maybe someday I'll make it.
Well, and I'm going to tell you that the biggest thing about Burning Man is the insurance companies do not want to insure the units. Once they leave the asphalt and they get into the dirt, the insurance falls off.
Really?
And some of the companies are kind of trying to start coming back around and take another look at that. But that is the biggest thing, is now it goes out there, and if something happens, if, God forbid, it catches fire and it burns down, that's on you now.
A couple years ago, they had the whole storm where a lot of RVs were abandoned. That's for another topic, though. We can have another topic on that.
Right.
But we can talk all day about Burning Man.
So just quickly, that's kind of a big reason why people have such a hard time trying to find an RV to go to Burning Man is mainly because the insurance they're just like, we're not covering that.
Yeah, but there's big money to be made out there with Burning Man, definitely. But we take a different stance. Again, we think about... we know a lot about what happens with the playa sand at the Burning Man and how it can corrupt, corruption of the
it gets in everywhere. And no matter how you clean it, you can clean the heck out of it. It's in places that you'll never even see. That you can't even get to.
So just to kind of piggyback, like what I was trying to tell you is like, we care about our owners. We care about their units, And so, yes, the money's great, but it's not always about the money.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So in that case, we just decided, we're not going to allow that to happen for many reasons.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, there's the way you guys have a controlled state, basically. Like how you rent out your RVs is very controlled environment.
It is,
you
definitely.
can take it from here to there. It goes 2 football fields one way, you know, that's not very harsh on the RV for one. And then 2, it's sitting here. I set it all up. So basically it's ready to go.
Dummy proof almost, right?
Yeah.
Like,
ready to go. RTG, whatever. Yeah. It's ready. Like you just show up. I can do this. I don't have to do much. You know, the biggest fear probably is like you might blow the place up with propane.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like maybe the biggest
Possibly.
fear.
The great thing about propane is you can smell it.
Yeah.
So,
which is good.
Yeah.
But not everybody.
No, there's a lot of there's a lot of companies that they're just like, oh, you want to rent an RV? Here you go.
Yeah.
See ya. You know, and they walk away, and the customers they don't know what to do, and you know, and they don't understand that.
We've seen a lot of companies that have gone down pretty quickly that had good intentions, obviously, to start an RV rental company, but because, you know, for X, Y, and Z reason, we find out later that it didn't work out, you know, and they kind of end up losing and not making it in the game, you know.
Yeah.
So
you guys you've been building your brand for about 6, 7 years now, and pushing that. And, you know, you guys really cater to a unique experience. And I've seen this in other places. And within California, my buddy, they literally had it was like a Class A that was parked. I think it was even blocked up, literally, but it was like over the valley of LA.
Nice.
Right? And it had like on the side of it was like a full white rock pad. It was like an old 70s Class A. It might have been a Prevost. Like it was pretty
Nice.
sweet, but it was definitely there to be there. And it was all like, you know, hippied out and everything. And they had a horse trough hot tub. So it was a very, you know, romantic style weekend for him, and it was really great. But you guys do similar idea, but it was very, you know, it's on the lake. What's the lake called?
Yeah. So we have Lake Paris.
You have Lake Paris.
Is one of them. And Yucaipa Regional is another big place that we deliver to. But there's also a lot of resorts. I mean, we're real close to Big Bear, California.
Oh, really?
Big Bear Shores is a beautiful resort on top of Big Bear. It overlooks Big Bear Lake. And it's funny you say like your buddy's setting. Big Bear Shores has a lot of settings like that where you literally pull in, you pull your Class A next to
a barbecue area.
Yes, outside
gazebo.
cooking.
Like,
Everything is like set up in this
Really?
campsite.
Yeah.
And
Too
then
much.
the
It's
wall,
bougie. Yeah.
the wall is like a glass see-through wall.
To
So
see
when
the
you're
lake.
sitting there, you're staring at the lake and all
lake.
that. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's
so
gorgeous.
Sounds wonderful.
We can pretty much, and that's something that we do too. We listen to our customers, right? So we're like, you know, you ask questions, just like if you're selling an RV, like, you know, how many people do you have? Where would you like to go? And things like that. And then we give them suggestions, you know, based on what
Like
they
a
say.
discovery call.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, very much so.
Exactly. The same. Yep. Same.
The same structure, you know. I want to know, because a lot of these people don't know. They want to go camping, but they don't even know where to get
That's
started.
all they know. I want to go
Yeah.
camping.
Yeah.
Well, what do you like? Well, I like
Step
the
one.
beach. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
here. Well,
Here's
We
your
don't
options.
just
Yep.
put them in a box. We hear them out, and then we figure out, like, okay, based on what they need, now let's go ahead and move with maybe this RV is going to work for you because you have 4 children, or is it a couple? Okay, well, let's put them in a Rockwood because it's like a mini apartment, you know? So we're always like thinking about the customer. How can we make sure that their first time camping experience is going to be the best experience, where either they're going to want to buy an RV or keep renting from us, you know? And it happens all the time where people will come camping with us, and then the next thing you know, they want to buy an RV, you know, and so then we walk them through the process of possibly where they can find an RV, you know, and that's another thing that we've been doing.
Interesting. We'll dive into that a little more later here. Do you guys still use? So one, how many RVs are in your fleet now? Not including your. I mean, I guess all of it, including your own. And then, do you guys still use Outdoorsy and RV Share, or are you specifically or only on Adventure RV CA?
So right now, how many RVs would you say? I haven't looked at the numbers recently.
So currently on the ground right now, I believe we have 12.
12, okay.
Yep. We have 8 brand new ones that will be here hopefully in the next week or two, which will move us up to about 20. And we fluctuated. I think 20 is the highest number that we've had. And then, you know, it fluctuates kind of depending on what the owners kind of are going through or what their needs are, things like that.
Yeah. So one of the things when you're growing a company is you need to understand the numbers, right? For us, attainable in our industry, 20 people like us can handle it with a small team.
Yes.
Anything after 20, you're going to need to hire more staff. So the thing with us is we're not just doing rentals. Like we mentioned earlier, we're doing other things in the community too. So we kind of like just keep that size for a certain reason, right?
Yes.
As of now, right now.
It gives us a little bit more freedom to do other things.
Yeah.
So, yes, we still use, our RVs are listed on, 2 different platforms now. RV Share is one of them, and Outdoorsy is the other one. I would say,
And then our website.
So our biggest source is our website, and then number 2 is Outdoorsy. It did start with Outdoorsy, kind of, where Outdoorsy used to be our biggest source of revenue coming in, and I think it's part of the reason too where that's changed is because now we get a lot of repeat customers.
Yeah.
A lot, especially during COVID. I mean, we did so many rentals during COVID. A good percentage of those people keep coming back to us every year. And you'd be surprised how many people do family events, let's say just once a year. Where they might rent, their family might rent 10 RVs, at a certain park, and this is something that they do every year. So we have a decent. It's a huge party. Yeah, exactly. So we have a huge following that comes back every year. And I think that's part of what helped grow our personal website. And then, like I said, Outdoorsy is second.
And I think we need to clarify something too for those that are looking to grow in this industry. Outdoorsy is more for like 1-2 RV owners, right? And in the industry that we're in, we have Outdoorsy, but they also have Wheelbase. And this is for like RV dealers that are bigger fleet owned,
So five or more units to be on Wheelbase.
So that's what we're using. It's still part of Outdoorsy, but now we're talking a higher scale.
It's a dealer type platform, just based on dealers, and so it gives you more freedom where you can choose more control. There you go, of what you can do.
So that's what we're using right now.
So we start off on Outdoorsy, and then as you build your fleet to at least 5, then you can apply to be a part of Wheelbase, and so what Wheelbase does for you is, let's say, like for us, like you asked us about insurance, right? So Wheelbase is a way to where you can provide rental insurance to every single renter, whether it's, they even have trip coverage that you can buy, vacation coverage,
protection, damage, interior protection.
Interior and everything like that. So it's a way to insure your RV, but not having to go out and get this massive insurance policy that that might cost you $1,000 a month to have this policy.
Or over $1,000.
Where it makes it to where the customer is paying for the insurance as they're using it. So you're not paying for insurance every single month. You're only paying for it basically as it's needed. But again, you're not paying for it. Your customer is paying for it. So that's one of the great things about the Wheelbase platform. They also have other things like reports, and
that we can use to see which units are actually making profit. You can see which ones are renting more.
You can also see where your leads are coming from, whether they're your own website or Outdoorsy, or you can integrate all that into them.
Into Wheelbase.
Into Wheelbase, sorry, yes.
Okay, this is a really, one of my questions was like, what systems or tools? So this is kind of like almost like your CRM of everything.
That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is.
Which is really cool.
Yep.
Okay.
And you can generate the reports. You can print the reports. I mean, it'll track your revenue and I mean everything.
It's pretty amazing. I like it, but obviously, there's a lot of things that I want to see in there that they haven't done. But overall, for a small business owner or even other companies that are like 100+ rental fleets, it works amazing for them too.
Yeah,
so they're constant. And I love Wheelbase Outdoorsy because they always listen to the owners as well.
Yes. Yes.
And they, I was part of their Outdoorsy Community Council for about 2 to 3 years, and they would definitely listen to us as owners to modify their data, their Wheelbase, to accommodate like the use of it for other owners and how they, how it could be better.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they've actually went a step further now. Wheelbase has with their insurance. So now you can actually purchase fleet type insurance to where you're covered all the time. You know, they will insure your whole rental business, which is, again, it's something that you can't find that. You know, you'll search all day, and maybe you'll get lucky and you find a company. But now with the way that they're doing it, you can call them up and you can say, you know,
that
hey,
was pretty amazing.
Yeah, you know, I've got 20 RVs and I want to insure I want to insure my trucks while they're driving and all that, and they will put a package together for you.
Very, very
So
cool. I didn't really know what Wheelbase was until I heard about it about a month ago, and you guys have just enlightened me more about it. I did not know it was a full-on thing.
Yeah, they make it easy for regular people to start their RV rental business, you know, and they also provide things like roadside assistance. You know, they have, like, you know, text, you can call in and talk to somebody, you know, if you have an issue while you're out on the road, like they have a lot of different programs that kind of go along with it.
Yeah. So you guys, like we spoke before, you guys really create a full unique experience from driving it out there, and like 95% of them you're delivering and you're setting it all up. It's a one-stop shop, ready to go, ready to camp. RTC, that's what you should call it, ready to camp. But anyway, so
I like that.
what's like RTC?
Got you.
What's kind of like peak season look for you guys? Like what's a week of that look like? And do you guys even have like a really off season in California?
Oh, yes.
You do have an off season in California?
We do, yeah.
A little bit of Big Bear, you know, because I know Big Bear's a mountain ski,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool. And you guys are really also unique because you guys can both kind of handle DIY calls, or like,
Yes.
hey, what do I do here? Which is
Yes.
super sweet because you guys are both certified at some
And don't get Marty. Don't let her fool you.
Yeah.
She will jump in a truck and hook up to that RV and take that RV down to the campsite herself and put that sucker in its spot and hook it up if she has to.
Yeah, I get a lot of weird people looking at me. They're like, "Is that a woman pulling or
they'll walk
backing
over?
up?"
Do you need help? You know, you've got all this signage. You know, RV rentals all over. RV rental shirts. Do you need help? Sir, do you need help? Like, you know, it's this kind of deal.
But yeah, very nice. You guys can really kind of it's a one-stop shop. Like I said, ready to camp. Question for y'all: since you've been doing this for 7-ish years, what about like what kind of income can someone actually realistically expect when renting out their RV? So like, I buy a Class C. You know, depending on my actual payment and my percentage for, you know, my actually interest rate. Because right now, I plan to do it, but the interest rates aren't super great right now. I didn't want to do that. I was going to send one down to basically in Florida because they have a 12-month year, you know, 12-month rental period, maybe 10. You know,
So how well your RV is going to do depends on where you're located.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in a tourist area, right, San Diego, LA, or Florida or Texas, or you're around national parks, the market's going to fluctuate, you know, depending on what type of RV you have. So what works for us in our area might not work for the type of RV that you have. So a lot of research goes into that when you're thinking about renting an RV, or if you have an RV, to see what's really renting in your area, so that you can monetize on the RV itself. So it really depends on where you live, you know, and how it's going to do in the market.
Does RV type play into it a little bit too?
What is it?
The type.
You see like better.
So the type definitely makes a difference. I mean, a travel trailer is going to be a lot cheaper to rent than, say, a Class A motorhome. You might look at $100. I mean, some travel trailers are less than $100 a night, versus a Class A might be, you know, $300 or $400 or all the way up to $500 a night for a big diesel pusher. But at the same time, you have to look at the fact, well, with that $500 a night diesel pusher, you might only get, you know, 1 or 2 rentals a month or whatever the time frame is. And then another thing you're dealing with is now you have this big unit that only a select people can drive it, you know, and deal with that, versus this travel trailer. A lot of people have a pickup truck. A lot of people have towed things, and it's a lot cheaper. But at the same time, you know, it's like you might have to do 50 rentals on that $100, you know, travel trailer versus only, you know, 5 of the big one. So again, and then that makes another factor. So travel trailers and Class C motorhomes, I would say, are the biggest units that rent, you know, the most. travel trailers are definitely number one. And then a lot of families are not intimidated by driving a Class C. You know, Class C is like, I one of the first questions I kind of ask is, have you ever driven a U-Haul before? Have you? You can drive a Class C motorhome. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah. But again, it boils down to like where you're located. But I'm sorry to interrupt, but the number one renting RV is going to be a Class B.
Yes.
The van.
The van.
Is true,
Because,
yes.
you have a lot of millennials and Gen Zs that want to go out in the world and discover, and it's easy to park anywhere.
Yes.
So you can park it at anywhere, basically.
You want to go to the grocery store, you park in the park, in the spot.
Easy to park, and it's not so intimidating like a Class C or towing a trailer.
Does it have to be a nice Mercedes Sprinter or Dodge?
No, we've seen a lot of
You
builds.
see any Astros? Safaris?
Actually, yes, there was a company. Remember there was a company that was
I forgot
renting.
what it's called.
They were purple or yellow RVs.
Yellow and orange.
Yellow, yeah. There was a company that was doing that, and they were Dodge Caravans.
Really?
Yep. And they turned the
Really?
back into little minivan, into little motorhomes. They didn't have restrooms in them.
So Class Bs are the first ones, and then Class Cs are the second, and then trailers, and then after that it's different. And then when it comes to monetizing on that, it's going to depend on your area. You're going to have to do some research. So what I tell a lot of RV owners that are thinking about, starting their business, it's great that you like certain units and that you want to start a business. I would hate to see people that want to start in the RV rental industry and getting the wrong type of units and investing a lot of money on certain type of units. And then for you to not be able to monetize on it. You know what I mean? And I've seen that happen a lot. And then when I knock some sense into them, and I'm like, okay, so you live in San Diego.
You knock some sense into them?
You know what I mean?
With her voice.
Watch out.
It's like, dude, like, where do you live? Oh, okay, I live in San Diego, for example, let's just say.
Great spot.
Okay, well, who flies in there?
Everybody.
Families, too, right? Couples,
Mainly
vacations.
families, yes.
Well, can your unit, match that,
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of thinking that has to go into if you want to start an RV rental business. And like we tell most of our owners that join our consignment program, first of all, let's think about if you're going to make this investment, how is it going to work for you first?
Yep.
That way you're going to be happy with your investment and your family, right? That's what we tell them first all the time. And then from there we keep taking it a step up and making sure that they purchase the right RV for themselves first. Yeah. And then we tell them, okay, that's going to work or that's not going to work for our fleet, right?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep, definitely.
So when it comes to making a purchase, that's kind of like how we help them too.
Yeah. You got to think about exactly what's going to work for everybody involved, not just for like what you want. If you really want to make money off of something, you got to be niched down to, hey, family oriented for the most part, because that's who's renting.
Tourist, right? Area.
Touristy, yeah. We are running a little low on time, so we have to transition to the last thing. We're going to actually probably have you back on for like a full on, how do you build one? How do you build a rental fleet? How do you do that? Because we hit into that. We got a big picture of it now. If we can like actually kind of lay it out next time, we'll do it again. So we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
So we and y'all have started a little opportunity here. You guys are going to be our first. If you guys haven't heard of Wayfinder RV, I was one of the first brand managers for Wayfinder RV. That's how I got out to Boise. I started the Go Play, or helped start the Go Play and get that off the ground, launched that. Now there's three of them. We have the Go Light, the Go Play, and the Go Explorer in that order. Go Light's the smaller side of things, and then Go Play is kind of the mid-range, and then we have more of a semi-luxurious option called the Go Explorer, which is a fiberglass option. Jason and Marty are going to be first delivery center out of California. So if you were to buy online, wayfinderrv.com, because you wanted to see one, X here, try before you buy, check it out there. Can you guys kind of walk us through what's that look like, and this how do you think it's going to work for you guys, and what excites you about integrating the Wayfinder RV into your fleet?
So that was kind of the little thing that I threw out there earlier when I said, in the next couple of weeks, they're going to be getting some brand new units. So what's going to happen is if anybody's interested in looking at Wayfinder, trying it out, using it, you can come to our rental company. We were going to have them as rentals. Our rentals are not for sale, but you can definitely come look at them. You can try it and use it. And if you're interested, then part of your rental can actually go towards purchasing your RV. So this is a brand new program through Bish's RV that we're just starting. And yeah, that's
and one of the things is like we're very careful about what we choose. So when we heard about the possibilities of growing with Bish's, I really love the whole Bish's story and how everything
family
too.
Family
and so
operated,
I bought in really quick because I love how you guys. It's very similar to how our company runs things. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things is when I started researching Wayfinders and the idea, kind of came into place. And then we finally got here a couple of days ago. First thing we did is we ran into a Bish's RV dealership because I was like, we want to see. It was like being in a playground. Yeah. We wanted to. As soon as we got off the plane, we're like, we came in here and we're like, we want to see them live. Like, we want to see what they look like. And I was really impressed with the quality of these RVs because I wanted to make sure we represent something, great. And so really impressed with all of the floor plans.
And for me, it's like, as especially my tech brain thinks about how are these things built, and things like that. And I was just like, because anytime they release a brand new product, you always wonder, especially if that product is cheaper than other units. You're like, well, why is it cheaper? What's wrong with it? And so my tech brain was like, I want to see these things in person and see, the quality. What people don't realize is that, these units are being built at a Jayco factory. So, Jayco has been doing this for many, many years, and they've got it down. Oh, yeah. So it's not a brand new unit that somebody just thought of and just built out of the thin air. It is a product that has been built. What I love about it is they took this product, they redesigned it, they listened to the customers, and they added just little functionality touches here and there to make your life easier.
As a mom, and I'm so excited about this product. As a mom, so I want to reposition myself.
You're fine, yeah.
As a mom, to me, all the things how they listen to their customer. The doggy, things where the dogs can actually have their food and water outside. The trash. I mean, from having those lines outside where you can hang your wet clothes to
clothes hampers.
To having the laundry basket. It just made my day. I was like, this for a mom.
You literally open a door and throw your laundry in there.
And then
it's not on the floor. It's
exactly.
And it's not even in the RV technically. Yeah. It's in a side box. Yeah.
So when you're done with your trip, mom can just open the storage box outside and just pull the basket and throw all the dirty clothes in the washer while she's getting the rest of the stuff out, or the whole family's getting the stuff out of the RV.
Those are things that really impressed us because we put a lot of pride behind our business too, and reviews and customer service are everything. And we weren't going to go out there and put our names behind a product that wasn't
quality.
We just didn't do that. And so we did, like a bunch of kids, run over there and start playing with things and opening doors, and we were like,
and if you know anything, women, we it's all about aesthetics and how it looks inside, how our kids are going to fit in the RV, so I, as a woman, I'm always, many women, we make a lot of those decisions even when you buy an RV. A woman does 80% or more, so at that point, we're looking at how can we cook? How is this fridge going to work for us? How are the kids going to sleep? My dog, where's he going to go? And how comfortable is the room? So, and how does it look in there? Like, is it something that it feels like my house? Right. And I think Wayfinder really took the time to consider that, and I love that about them. From the laundry basket to like just opening the bed and then finding a lot of space.
They even literally made a little hidden door in the back. I mean, how many times have you wanted to put your bicycle inside the coach? Or for us, we're a family of 6, so when we go out, we've got 6 bikes hanging off the bike rack.
Somewhere strapped.
Exactly. And you spend a lot of money for bicycles. And now they're scratching each other and doing all this. And
oh my God!
They built a tiny door in the back. You can open it up. Raise the bed and slide your bike right in there. Lay it towards your mattress. So it's not rubbing on your walls and stuff or whatever you decide to put in there. You could probably put a kayak in there. I didn't really think about it, right?
And I love fishing, so they even have like in the storage compartment in the front, they have a place where you can put your fishing pole.
Yeah.
I was genius. Now you don't have to like your fishing pole is not going to get tangled and mixed with the rest of the stuff.
We're super excited to see what our customers think too. Like I said earlier, we have a lot of return customers that come back every year, and a lot of those customers will want the same unit, and they want that unit for a reason. And so for us, like, we're really excited to be like, hey, I know you always take this unit, but I'm going to give you this one instead, and just kind of see their reaction when they see all the little things, that the thought that's really went into this unit.
Entice them with a discount or something like that.
Yes.
Here's a $50 discount.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just the fact that, hey, you want to stay in a brand new RV? Oh yeah, I'll take that.
Perfect.
That works. Too.
Or even the possibilities, because a lot of them are on the fence of buying. So, if you introduce them to a product that is going to work for them, whether it's a couple or a family, maybe this is the right one for them. And, that's what we're looking forward to as well, offering it to our existing customers and also bringing in like new customers and introducing something that's going to work for families too and couples and whoever walks in the door.
And something that's affordable.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays with, our markets and everything going crazy and tariffs and stuff. It's like, you can still afford this. If we went in a recession tomorrow, you can still afford to have this RV, still afford to take your family out, and really enjoy, the outdoors with these units. So that's what brings us here to Idaho, all the way from California to Bish's center here.
Excited about the product and definitely looking forward to launching it in California.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens there. Now, a question for the people that might be interested in Wayfinder RV. One, if you haven't heard anything about Wayfinder RV, check out wayfinderrv.com. That can kind of give you the whole story about how we do things and how we keep costs low, but giving you more bang for your buck. What they're talking about, that's what we do with our RVs. We kind of streamline the process, cut out some middlemen things, and then nailed it down to these are our SKU numbers. There's a whole lot to it. But anyway, do they have to rent to check these things out?
No. So just like any one of our units, anyone can come at any time and check out our units to see if they're a fit for you. It's the same thing with our Wayfinders. I'm so sorry. Our Wayfinders, you can come and make an appointment with us if you'd like to see one, and check it out. And again, if you like it, when you see it and you're like, man, I don't know, maybe I need to try it. Well, hey, we can set you up with that too. So and if you want to try multiple units, you can try multiple units. We're going to have a lot of different floor plans, so you can try different floor plans that might work out for your family, but no obligation. If you just want to come look at them, you can totally do that. And if you're interested in purchasing them, they do have a brand new app that's just being launched. It's the first in the industry where you can actually go on an app now and purchase this RV. So you can literally, come to California, look at this RV and say, you know what, I want that RV. Go on your phone, buy the RV, and then have the RV delivered to your house.
Or you can pick it up at our location.
Yep.
Yeah. And even if you don't want to, like Jason was talking about the whole rental thing, if you don't want to tow it, we can deliver it for you and have it all set up for you.
Even perfect.
Yeah.
Even more perfect.
Yeah. So let's say
just leave it there and have them rent it out and use other people's money
can do
to
that
pay
too.
for it.
Yeah. They can put it in the consignment program.
Option, definitely.
Put it right back in there. Awesome. Well, guys, this has been a wonderful conversation. Quick question for you. Besides the Wayfinder integration to your fleet, what else do you see next for Adventure RVCA?
Well, I'm excited about, in general, I would say like the whole how things are revolutionizing now with the whole energy, the new RVs coming in that are going to be energy efficient,
EV RVs.
Yes.
How that's going to pan out and how it's going to change the industry, how it's going to make the world better. That's what I envision ourselves like in the future. Possibly even growing into a dealership,
right,
and bringing in people that we can employ in our community and bring jobs in as well. And then training our employees to see the model and what we believe in and what we have to offer to everybody that walks in the door.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be starting a service center here really soon. We will be, so any Wayfinders that are purchasing California, you will have a local service center that only works on your Wayfinder. And that's something that I don't think people really understand of how big that is, right? You go to a dealer and they work on, 20 different brands. They've got 20 different parts. It takes forever to get parts and things like that. Or, maybe it takes a while for the tech to figure out what's wrong with it, versus you go to a shop that only works on that product. We'll be able to get those units out faster. We'll be able to get parts faster. And so that's definitely something that's coming here in the soon future is more servicing of RVs too.
Yep.
Very, very nice. So lots on the horizon.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Very cool. So real quick, let's kind of recap where you can be found on Outdoorsy, Wheelbase, RV Share, right? But also AdventureRVCAs.com is where you guys typically have most of your traffic.
Yeah. So,
And you can find us on social media as well. We're on Instagram and TikTok, Facebook.
Yep.
And we're pretty active on it. We have a small following, but very loyal following. And so that's another way to connect with us, too.
Yeah.
And we love to help other businesses who are looking into starting a business, in the RV rental world. Is what we do, and we love to help.
So, AdventureRVCA.com is our website. Through the website, you can message us. You can, our phone number is on there. You can call us. You can text a phone number, which comes directly to us. So there's many different ways to
get
find
hold
us.
of us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very well.
So.
Yeah. Well, guys, quick recap. Starting small, buying the right RV for you guys, whoever may be, but also for somebody else to rent out if you really wanted to do so, to make it actually profitable. Because if you're using like a couples coach, maybe not as well, probably doesn't do as well, but you could probably still do one as like a third or fourth one of your fleet. Scaling smart, so like using stuff like Wheelbase to integrate into that and like use that properly because there's so many different ways that can help you.
That can help you,
and then reaching all that, building your own website, being great on the service side of things, and then they had what'd you call that? A something thing with the state park?
Concession?
Concessionaire contract.
Yes.
Where you have basically spots already ready and you can just drop it off and do so like that. Or just have them do it. Just buy the RV and just wipe your hands and walk away.
If you want to make 100% of the profit, we'll teach you how to do that too.
Yeah, so that is something else we do.
And coach you through it.
Perfect. We'll have you guys back on and we'll do a full 101, 30-minute short class. Here you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you guys would like to share before we close out here?
No, we're excited, and we're happy to be here. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we're here to help. So if anybody has questions, we'll be more than happy to answer any other questions.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to our website if you guys have questions. So.
Awesome. Jason
Thank
and
you.
Marty, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody out there, stay tuned for more from the RV Voice.